that was a part of the diaspora at the time invited me to come to the conference. I think the conference was canceled or something like this, so we didn't end up going. Since then, not just that individual, but quite a number of other individuals that I knew to be a part of the diaspora are no longer a part of the diaspora. I live in northwest Brampton, where there are a lot of Jamaicans, right? And I come in contact with them very regularly because as a poet and author, I go around and door to door sell my books a lot of times, and I sit and have communion with them. They roast breadfruit and share it with me. They pick gungu out of their, not gungu, like peas or whatever, vegetables out of their backyards. And so I have a lot of interaction with them, and it saddens me that I think I counted less than 20 of us here on such a significant day as the Jamaican Diaspora Day. I'm incredibly saddened, and I think about this movie I was watching 2 nights ago, whereby this one guy branched off and started his church with a few little members, and in no time the doors had to be closed because no money never did if it dropped 50 at the rent. So saying all of that to say, I can't remember your name, second in, you mentioned that, it's fairly new. I went to the Diaspora Conference last year, and it was huge, right? We can all agree. And I would think that from that sort of momentum to today, we would be a lot farther ahead. So I'm highly disappointed in that, I must say. I used to get communication through email, and I haven't had one in, I can't recall. Thankfully, I saw this on Facebook. So social media is a great tool, and that's why I couldn't make I tried to make the church service on Sunday. I couldn't make that. My son was all ready, but we had a challenge in that our ride fell through last minute. Coming from Brampton, it was a challenge, so we didn't make it, and I was really disappointed because my son, who is Canadian born but nonetheless Jamaican, was all ready to go. But so. I'm just sort of a lot of these same people that I tell you that invited me. They'll be on my phone. There'll be a lot of chatter and complain about this, that, and the other. And I'm always a huge advocate for, it's one thing to chat and not take it to where it really belongs, where some sort of change can come about. And so I try to drown that out, because I think this is where it needs to be told. There are people that would want to be a part of it, and there are a huge amount of Jamaicans that needs to be told. Not everybody will be able to, like I took a taxi to come here from you. I zoomed into York University, and then I took a taxi to make sure that I'm here at a reasonable time. But people that live out in these, like Durham, or that has a huge Jamaican population as well, or Brampton, why is it that we don't have? Why isn't this to the point where we have people in these other municipalities that we're all connected to the same body, but can have smaller? Whereas someone will go to their local community center that's 5 minutes away for a 1 hour session rather than come all the way into Toronto each time. That might be challenging. Why aren't we doing more? Because we're all here because we're passionate. I'm listening to all the presentations about how great Jamaica is and all. We all agree, but we need to engage the diaspora. Like, there are a lot of us. When you think of Jambana, the park is full of Jamaicans. Like, where is everyone? So that's my outdone. I'll stop.
I definitely see your point. It's a valid point. This is not unlike other organizations. I mean, as we talk about JC, I served as a vice president of JC for many, many years. And, we have membership meetings, and they're well attended with the few faithful who always come out. But then the questions, as you raise, why are we not into the pockets and the places that Jamaicans are abound? How do we think of strategies and ways to reach out? Now, there's stuff that's really in our control. I mean, I can tell you right now, our website is almost completed. We're going to have a website that's reflective of all the things that we're doing. Right now, we depend on word of mouth. We depend on emails. We depend on people like yourself who come to events to go out and say, you know what, this event was impactful and made a difference, and this is what the diaspora is about. So definitely you will hear the chatter, you will hear people who say certain things, but we need them to come to the events and to make the diaspora where it needs to be, and to be a participant of changing it to what you want it to be. And I think you made the effort, as you said, you took a bus, taxi, whatever, when you got here, because you saw the importance of this day and the movement. And I think that's where we start getting out there, new strategies, and find activities that people will be involved in. I accept that not everybody's going to be at an event like this, right? Hence why we had the church service as well yesterday. Hence why we're going to have a social event on Friday to try and reach people at different levels, because everybody wants to be engaged on a different level. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is, why does the diaspora exist, and how can we move people forward to making something that need to be a part of in the future? So your point is valid, and this is systemic of many organizations, Jamaican organizations. We got to think differently.
It's very tough, because from my experience, not just Jamaicans, but black people on a whole, and I'm speaking broadly here, forgive me. You know, when you think of a parent-teachers meeting, I'm sitting here and I equate it to that. I've been to a lot of assemblies where you can pick on the one and two black faces, so by nature or whatever, from whatever, we tend to be. So we have to. I mean, we're brilliant minds. We have to strategize in such a way as to how is it that we're going to get. Because it's not that they're not interested. They love Jamaica. They're very gung ho about Jamaica. You know, they're passionate. Jamaicans are some of the most passionate people I know. So it's not that we're not interested. It's how do we. Sometimes we get caught up in the whole political aspect of things, right? So that can be a barrier, what have you. But how is it that we can? And I think that it's important that we don't just know that there's a problem, but that we somehow mobilize to fix it, or to make some strong effort in you know.
It's a valid point, and we have